Okay, good, good. Let me log back into SC2. Alright. Oh my god, Susie. Calm the fuck down. Let's try this again. Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, ZvP. Good luck, Widow of the Masked Hero. Hope your games go well. We've got ZvP versus double Warp Prism Colossus drop into Skytoss, right? So, like I was saying, 16 hatch I could have gotten down before this probe got here. It got here at 52 seconds into the game, which is right when a normal 17 hatch goes down. So if my hatchery had gone down any earlier, he wouldn't have been able to block it. So he gets a little overconfident with his probe, and he gets killed, so I cancel the pull and go for a third hatchery at my natural. The opponent doesn't have any way to punish it, so why not? So I retake my pool. I'm just droning. 2 new hatcheries on the way. My first overlord is heading into the main base. Yeah, there's the income tab. I see, well, I will see shortly a Twilight Council going down. They're doing some damage with Adepts, causing me a little bit of a hassle, but we're dealing with it. This could have been better. This is another example of how the neutral, like a correct neutral positioning would really help. Would really help me in a lot of games, because if my lings were here, they could respond to a threat here or a threat here very quickly, but my lings were over here. So the Adepts attack, and then they immediately shade away. And the lings can't chase them because I don't have ling speed yet. So I need to have, like, the queens anchoring, a couple queens anchoring the new base, and then lings kind of in the center to respond to any threats. So this is going to hurt me a little bit. I'm 10 workers behind right now. Which is pretty damaging this early in the game. As you can see, my income is lower. But I saw... Did they cancel the Twilight? I think they canceled the Twilight. Was I hallucinating? Oh, I guess I must have been hallucinating. I thought I saw a, I thought I saw Twilight Council go down. Double Robo. In the meantime, I dropped a Roach Warren. It's a little bit late. 4 minutes is a safe time for a Roach Warren. I'm also really supply blocked here. 50 supply is a really common time to get supply blocked, so around that time I should make like 3 or 4 overlords just to not be supply blocked. I'm playing kind of blind. I don't have great vision. I have no vision of whether the opponent's moving out or taking a third or anything like that. Those are things I should correct. I'm correcting it now, but like, you should have vision of the potential thirds and watchtowers before 6 minutes into the game. And again, more damage to the Adepts. Just bleh. I'm definitely behind on units lost. I'm slightly ahead in workers, though. Now, this should have been a tell that something interesting was going to happen, because where is all their gas going? So I know they're at least mining these two. I didn't have vision of the gases that they're natural at any point, so that's also an error in scouting. But seeing this is a pretty big tell that they're doing something tech heavy, because they're mining 4 gas, but their army is almost entirely adepts and zealots. They have 1 sentry. So when I see them taking a third and all that's defending their third is zealots, I should be thinking, what are you spending your gas on? So that's something I can work on. Queen's focus the warp prism. Now he's being clever and splitting his warp prisms into 2 groups, harassing 2 locations, so that's good. Well done, opponent. Now at this point, I've split my roaches into 2 groups, right? So I've got drop defense squad here, that's on my 5 hotkey, which is actually 9. Because I use the court hotkeys, and the rest is still on my main army hotkey, which is I, and they're anchoring down my 4th base. I've got 3 queens on a hotkey. They're going to try and focus down any warp prism if it actually plants itself and starts warping stuff in. And I've got a Hydra den. I haven't started researching yet, but I'm going to start making Hydras here soon. I'm already making Hydras. What does Gravitic Drive do? Okay, Gravitic Drive is a speed upgrade for Warp Prism, so this is going to get really annoying, because Roach Hydra isn't a very fast army. But it's a fairly sturdy army, so they can't just kill me with the Colossus. Now, I still have basically no vision. It's 9 minutes, almost 9.5 minutes into the game, right? And I have no idea what they're building, other than my 530 scout saw that they had nothing but zealots at their third. So I don't see what they're building. This is something I should be doing better at. Like, just an Overseer scout when the lair finishes, that would have been so very, very helpful here. I'm a little confused as to why they threw down so many gateways. I guess they didn't go straight into Skytoss here. The opponent's been insanely efficient here. Now I'm working my way towards Hive. Focusing down a warp prism, that's good. The other warp prism's here. I've got 9 lurkers here, so this is going to be a very scary position for the Protoss to attack into. I've started a Spire. Cool tip. Spire has a 71-second build time. Hive has a 71-second build time. So if you drop a Spire at the same time as you start your Hive, it will finish the same time your Hive finishes, and you can start Greater Spire as soon as your Spire finishes. So if Brood Lords factor into your plan, it's always a good idea, if you can afford the gas, to start your Spire as soon as your lair starts, assuming you don't already have one for whatever reason. A lot of idle time on this evolution chamber. That could be better. Having these overlords just chilling here is probably not the best use of them, because again, my vision isn't spectacular. I did put an overlord here to watch the dead airspace into my main. I put another overlord here because this is like a common elevate. words are hard, elevator location for the Protoss. I have an Overlord here and here watching the dead space around my 3rd and 4th. So that's important for defending drops. And this is kind of cheeky. Now, I'm maxed out. I've got 9 lurkers. I've got 74 drones. I've got 10 Hydras and 28 roaches and a Ravager. I have 7 queens. I'm teching to Broodlords, but I'm maxed out, so I need to trade away supply anyway to make room for the Broodlords, right? So this would be a good time to attack and trade out supply and try to take an efficient trade. But instead, I think I'm going to stand here jerking myself off for another couple minutes. Yep. I'm trading roaches away now. This is good. This is actually really good. So that takes them down to 61 workers. That's going to slow down their transition, right? Because carriers are expensive. So I would say these roaches did their job. They distracted the opponent. A thing I could have done better here was, since I knew I was going to trade these away anyway, I'm already making units to take over their job of zoning out the warp prism. So I should have, when this group was hitting this base, I should have sent this group here to their 3rd base and kind of made them run around and really work to defend their economy. Sorry, Susie. Now they're making Void Rays. They've got 4 Stargates chronoed, but they aren't producing. So that's a macro slip up that gave me a bit of an advantage. And now I'm trading away this Roach Hydra. Sniping some Archons was really good. I think that was probably about the most efficient use I could get for those units, because they were dead supply at that point. Let's look at the income. So I'm clearly ahead on income. We're roughly equal on gas income, but I'm still fairly ahead in minerals. They're starting to catch up now that their 4th base is getting probes on it again. And again, I've still got some Roach Hydra with my main army. I have 10 Broodlords, I have 9 Lurkers, and a handful of Corruptors. So this is going to trade away a decent chunk of their army. So even though this push isn't going to be the game-ending push I had hoped for, I'm going to basically reset their immortal count. And I'm already remaxing on Corruptor Hydra. Getting the Lurkers out might have been good. I don't know. I don't know if the Lurkers would have been good for me, would have been helpful to have for dealing with the carrier transition. In any case, I'm making some more Broodlords. I'm making 5 Broodlords now. Now, the purpose of these 5 Broodlords is just to zone out the High Templar. Because otherwise they could just storm for free, right? So by having these Broodlords, I put the Protoss in a situation where they have to make a decision whether they want to storm my army and risk damage to their High Templar, or if they want to keep them back. Void Rays versus Corruptor feels bad, man. So I'm laying down a forest of spore crawlers. It's important when doing this to replace your workers as you're doing this. You can go down to probably 65 or 70 workers for this, but you don't want to go any lower. Now, this was a pretty major cock-up on my part. The Corruptors are fighting the Interceptors. That's bad. Corruptors kill interceptors very slowly. That's what the Queen Hydra is for. The Corruptors need to be focusing the mothership and then the carriers. The Queens and Hydras, they need to be focusing down the interceptors and transfusing the Corruptors. So that's kind of the procedure here. I also need to make sure my Broodlords stay alive, otherwise the Protoss can just storm me for free. So that's just kind of how Zerg vs. Skytoss works. Now the piece I'm missing that probably would have cost me the game if I was playing against a better opponent is I don't have any infestors. A few infestors, like 4 to 6, would make this even better. Like, I've got most of the pieces to deal with a carrier transition, but not quite all of them. Spore, Queen, Hydra, Brood, Corruptor, that's correct, but I needed the infestors. If I could have been fungaling or neuraling interceptors or neuraling carriers, that would have been the icing on the cake that just make this Zerg vs. Protoss cake even tastier. Is Parasitic Bomb still viable against carriers? No. You can't target the interceptors with the Parasitic Bomb anymore, and carriers themselves have a lot of health, so the Parasitic Bomb doesn't really do much to them. Did he have too many carriers? I don't think they had too many carriers. How many do they have? 9 here? Do they have any more anywhere else? They're only producing... Well, I guess they're producing 3 at a time. I didn't realize how starved this Protoss is. Because they don't actually have enough mineral income at this point to keep all of their Stargates running. What are they spending their minerals on? That doesn't seem to make sense. So they've got about the same income that I do. So I'm very confused. What's their army? What else do they have in their army? Carriers. I guess... Oh, duh. They're spending it all on interceptors, that's why. So this is actually doing a pretty good job of bleeding them out. So because of the Spore Queen Hydra killing interceptors as they attack, they aren't able to produce carriers as fast as they would like, right? Because they have to keep replacing their interceptors. I think this opponent could have been more patient. Because, like, what are they gaining by attacking here? Nothing. I'm not really threatening a base, right? I can't just jump on this base and kill it because their army's here, right? I can't jump on this base and kill it because there's rocks in the way and their army's still right over here. I can't jump on... There's no real point in me jumping on this base because it's almost mined out. So the longer this game goes on, the better it goes for them, because as their carrier count increases, this game gets harder and harder for me, right? Because carriers are one of those units that kind of they're kind of critical mass units. They're kind of like Corruptor, or not Corruptors, but they're kind of like Broodlords in that in small numbers they're not that scary, but once you hit a critical mass of them, they're scary. They're almost unstoppable. And they do have a few not Archons, but Templar in here for storms, which storm is important to have. Ultras are really tanky, and it's good to have 2, maybe 3 with your army here at this point, because interceptors they attack pretty fast, right? But they don't do a whole lot of damage. Or rather, they do a lot of damage, but they do that by attacking for small amounts very quickly. And yeah, a Ling run by at this base would have been key. Or would have been clutch. So, Ultras have a lot of armor, so they can soak a lot of interceptor hits. But really, I think this opponent just got a little impatient. So they just traded away a big chunk of their army just to kill a few Spores and Queens. So we're just slowly winning the attrition war at this point. We're just gradually bleeding them of resources. Now, I think the game still could have gone either way at this point. It all comes down to, I think it all still comes down to execution, right? I think if I'd have let my Corruptors just sit in the storm for much longer than I did, I would have lost the game there. Because I've about mined all my gases out, so it's getting harder for me to replace my gas units. And that's part of the reason I'm making so many Queens, right? Because Queens don't cost minerals, or don't cost gas, rather. They only cost minerals. And they can fulfill kind of the same function as the Hydras, plus they can transfuse. Clutch transfuses on the Brood Lord. 2 fresh gases at 6 o'clock? Yeah. I'm mining off of 6 gas still, so that's not the end of the world. And at this point, they're basically dead. Like, they've bled out. They don't have the money to keep replacing their units, and they've kind of, like, they don't have the money to replace their army, and their army is no longer scary. Like, I've whittled it down to the point where there's not a whole lot of scary units, so yeah. So that's kind of how you deal with Skytoss. Yeah, there's no way to set rallies for Queens, unfortunately.